Right now with co-founder of Muse Recordings, award-winning host of the Muse Show, pop culture expert. So many titles, if I went through them all, we would be here all day. Muse joining us right now to talk about the big show, the Oscars last night.
What's up, Garrett? How are you feeling, my friend?
I'm glad you're here. Let's dive right into it. You know, one of the moments from last night that I thought was the most wholesome was when Mikey Madison took home Best Actress. And throughout the show, there were moments like this where it seemed like not so much somebody was getting snubbed, but maybe there were like these big kind of upsets that kind of surprised you, but that were also kind of wholesome. Am I wrong in describing that?
You're not wrong at all. You really picked up on that moment of Mikey Madison being wholesome. I thought the same thing. You can tell she was genuinely surprised. We all knew that it was going to come down between Mikey Madison and Demi Moore. And so for Mikey to have that look and that surprise and that wholesome moment, and I loved how she thanked her twin brother, right? Like she said, that's my best friend, whether you like it or not, and we're going to be together. And I thought that was really nice. I love that she brought her twin as her date, her +1. I thought that was really beautiful and special. And I loved how she really thank the sex workers and to really amplify that. And so I love how you talked about the word wholesome because I think sometimes we don't always value work. And no matter how we feel about work and how people's professions of choice, I think what Mikey Madison was brought that to the forefront to say that they are people and they are humans and their stories need to be told and amplified. That was a good one, Garrett. I like you.
Thank you, Mikey. And you know, the day after the Oscars, a lot of people, everybody's looking for that word snub. I mean, watching the whole show last night from start to finish, it never crossed my mind once. I mean, did you get that kind of feeling too? Could we say, you know, the day after there really wasn't any snubs?
No, there wasn't any snub. Everything went as predicted. We knew Zoe Saldana was going to have a big night and a big win. She's had an incredible award season. We also tuned in that Kieran Culkin was going to have a big night. He's had an incredible award season. We knew that was going to come down between Adrian Brody and Timothée Chalamet, but when Adrian Brody won the statue last night, we celebrated him as much as we celebrated Timothy and all the incredible actors that were there. It all came down to really the Mikey and Demi dynamic, but at the same time, we weren't surprised. Both of them would have been deserving. All of the women that were nominated were deserving. The show was great. I will say the big surprise was that beautiful rendition between Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande for Wicked for the opener. Their voices are powerful, dynamic. It was very regal how they both came out. And I love that Cynthia Erivo sang that song Home from The Wiz. And so I like how they celebrated the entire ethos of The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, those performances, if you were standing up, I mean, they knocked you back on your couch to sit and listen. Here's another question for you, Mike. Let me ask you, you know, a lot of folks that aren't into, you know, maybe movie watching as much as we are, you know, when you say, hey, did you watch the Oscars, or are you aware the Oscars is going on, they could name maybe a few films. Like I think the first one that comes to mind is Dune. You know, Dune 2, that's the one they take. Is it a good or a bad thing that a lot of these folks don't know every single movie that's, you know, up for Best Picture this year?
You know what? I don't think it's a good or a bad thing, but I think what the Oscar does is it has this moment for people to go back now and watch the films that were nominated and watch the films that won. There's so many films that get made like throughout the year. I think award season helps the general public moderate what films should be seen, helps us amplify stories and get the American public and society globally to say, here's why you should see this film. Here's why it matters. Here's the human interest story of the conclave in particular as we look at the health crisis that the Pope is currently experiencing. What would that be in the unlikely event or likely event of a passing? What is the new era and how is the Pope elected, right? So it's also an educational lesson. History, the brutalist, right? It talks about the Holocaust. It talks about brutalist architecture, right? It gives you a window into a world. It gives you a window into history. And storytelling in film is very powerful that. It gives a social construct and gives us an ease of a way of really dealing with complicated subject matters that may be uncomfortable just when you're having coffee with a friend or a family. But when you watch things like that on film, it makes the conversation a little bit more easier and kind of helps to moderate discourse.
Beautiful. Mikey Muse, thank you so much for joining us. We are, once again, so appreciative that you were able to take the time to speak with us about this, and we hope you have a great rest of your day. You look great, too.
Garrett, have me back, man, anytime.
All right, take care.